Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm not sure I can follow Table 4 and Table 3 because I know Matthew's very eloquent and so is Jean-Marc, but I'm certainly going to try. So Table 9 thanks you for the opportunity to be able to share some of their feedback on the strategic plan proposal with everybody tonight. And so I'll begin. So number one, what is the overall sense of the draft? And does it focus the issues of the greatest relevance and importance to FIT? So some of the feedback that we discussed was the new statement appears limited. It sounds a little bit like jargon. Innovation is only mentioned twice, and it seems a little bit on the vague side. It seems as if attractive words have been used, but somehow they don't convey the content that it may be intended to convey. The current statement does state purpose and it does explain new aspirations, but somebody at the table said, well, what about citizenship? And I think that grew out of the feeling that liberal arts was deleted from being mentioned in the new draft, and it was mentioned in the old draft of the mission statement, or I should say our current mission statement. Concentrating on economy or educating for a New York economy seems to represent business without the educational goals of citizenship. What type of education model may the new mission statement intimate? Moving from 2+2 to all 4, thus eliminating the associates community college feeling is something that the table was a little bit skeptical about, because they all felt that the community college education does provide valuable education to students who may not be able to afford it, and also be able to help them develop skills that could get them employed. The model and the identity implied by the new mission statement seems to indicate a more rigorous environment. But what about the students who require flexible degree programming? The worry was that the rigor wouldn't just be applied to the curriculum and assessment of the curriculum, but it would be applied to a very strict way of programming the courses. And some other ideas were, what about continuing education? And what about research? The table felt that research should be, or opportunities should be mentioned for staff as well as faculty, especially outside of the School of Liberal Arts. Number 2, are there any gaps? The ideas are fantastic, but implementation is not supported. Strategic plan can include more. Can the strategic plan include more concrete examples of what is possible for staff and faculty to provide a framework of possibilities for them to think within? Support for initiatives. At the table, they thought it seemed to be a little bit lacking. Big, audacious goals are good, but a system of support needs to be described, built, and instituted. And added-on expectations seem to be a bit troubling. Will they become a part of a requirement for promotion or for hire for faculty? And then we did discuss research at length because we're not really a research institution. So the discussion revolved around who will decide what research will be supported. Will faculty be expected to develop research opportunities? Since we're not a traditional research institution, will FIT find the opportunities and then connect it to faculty? And this sort of goes back to the feeling of the strategic plan and especially the mission statement. The table felt that it had a more corporate feel to it, and they don't really know what that indicates. The older statement is specific and focused on education. This one seems to feel focused on economy and driving an economy. So we felt that the intent of the mission statement could be clarified a little bit. We'd like that. And the last thing, number 3, if the plan were to be implemented, what does that mean? Many of us were wondering, well, what would the model be? The plan doesn't seem to be able to help readers envision the model that it represents. Flexibility in the curriculum, how do we get there from a process perspective is what our table discussed, because the faculty at the table feel creating curriculum flexibility represents more freedom for students and teachers. So they really like that idea very much. Somebody mentioned ideas change quickly in this day and age. Faculty sometimes feel a bit stuck trying to bring that into the new curriculum while still having to teach the nuts and bolts of what now is required to be taught so students can progress to the next level or to the next course. And then these are the personal reflections a bit. The new plan inspires excitement for change, but doesn't seem to grab us. It doesn't seem to carry the excitement that we feel for the change into the process that is sort of stated in the plan. And an example of this was on page 6 and 7, the third year shared experience. They all thought this was wonderful, but then they said, well, how can this happen within our present system? Can multiple models of support be explored? And then they talked about much of the intent of the strategic plan is felt to be tied to collective bargaining. And just two more things, and that's it, I'll stop. Study abroad, visiting professors here and teaching overseas. Short-term exchange residencies seem to be too short and intense. The faculty feel that they leave their specialty there and don't have time to really bring back what they would like to from that particular country to FIT. And the humanness of the boots on the ground feels as if it's missing. It seems like a very corporate, altruistic, and a little bit intimidating and a bit frightening to us at the table as the faculty and the staff wonder how they can make it happen because they're the ones who are supposed to be able to put this into action. So we felt sort of in conclusion, if a person reading the strategic plan can't envision what is implied, they'll question it, they'll not be able to see the larger picture, and they won't be able to see their part within this larger picture. And that's it. Thank you.